Dun, dun, dun. Is CrossFit dangerous?
I'm gonna say no. You know what? I'll spice it up. I'll say yes. I'll say yes, it is.
She works for the NSCA.
Even going max effort in burpees and thrusters and rowing, generally for even the average competitor, is going to have more of a positive health impact than it will a negative one.
Group fitness allows for folks to engage with fitness and enjoy working out. And for a lot of people, it's the only option they would ever even try.
Chris, you should be a lawyer.
Do all CrossFit competitors need to be doing easy work? No. Hopefully no one sounds clips these things and just takes it for their own use. It's going to sound like an idiot multiple times in this podcast probably.
So do I think it's optimal? Yes, but with the caveat that it has to be done appropriately and not just all crazy.
The fitness movement is brought to you by ZOAR Fitness. We offer coaching and individualized program design, as well as educational content for coaches and athletes. It's all at one place, ZOARfitness.com. Well, welcome. Today we're going to be trying something a little bit different. If we like it, we might do it again. If we hate it, we'll probably never do it again. But we're going to do, in Chris's words, the great debate, where we have... On our list right now, we got 7 different questions. We'll see how many we actually get through before we run into time. We're going to, basically the person who came up with the question is going to present it. The other people are going to answer it. They have to answer yes or no. And the big thing here is that it's really not a yes or no question, right? For example, our first one is competitive CrossFit healthy? That's obviously a huge debate, and it's something that you can't really answer yes or no, but we're going to mandate that we answer yes or no. And then you have to justify that statement with that yes or no in as short and as concise of an answer as you can, while still giving it justice. And then the big thing is, if, for example, I present a question and Day and Chris both answer it as no, for example, then I have to answer yes. If they both answer yes, then I have to answer no, just to bring some well-roundedness to it. So let's jump right into it. First question, it's mine. Is competitive CrossFit healthy?
I'm going to say no.
I will also say no.
Oh, looks like you are the yes, Ben. Boom roasted. So I'm going to say no. My general stance on CrossFit is the same as many other sports, where I say playing soccer with your son in the backyard is healthy, right? You're getting active, you're getting out with your kids, you're getting out in the sun. But playing competitive soccer, or football is a better example. Maybe playing catch with your kid in the backyard is totally healthy, but putting on the pads is probably not the healthiest thing for you. I feel similarly about competitive CrossFit and competitive athletes, where it's people who are going and competing at the CrossFit Games in a 4-day meet grinder competition is not exactly what you would consider healthy. They have all these different injuries, whereas people coming and doing CrossFit for general health would be healthy.
All right, Jay.
So very much similar to what Chris was saying, but also on another side of that too, competitive CrossFit is a huge mental and physical toll on the body. So if you look at people at the high levels of competitive CrossFit, there's a huge time commitment. They basically have to revolve most of their life around it, sacrificing a lot of things that is not necessarily considered healthy. And if we're going into the route of performance enhancing drugs, that's also another thing, but that's a whole other topic. But so generally, I would say at that high level, it's definitely not. Yeah, along with what Chris was saying.
Okay, so by default, I say yes, competitive CrossFit is healthy. Hopefully no one sounds clips these things and just takes it for their own use. It's going to sound like an idiot multiple times in this podcast probably. But I would say, so if I'm defending this, the most people who are doing competitive CrossFit, they aren't at a super high level, right? And even like Chris was saying, it's healthy to, throw a football with your kid in the yard, but not to throw on some pads. It's well, when your sport is exercise, it's actually not a bad option, right? So even going max effort in burpees and thrusters and rowing, generally for even the average competitor is going to have more of a positive health impact than it will a negative one. And and I think that's actually probably one of the benefits of CrossFit is that, and even competitive CrossFit, is that there are positive side effects to doing it. Whereas like a lot of other sports, most of the side effects are like negative. Whereas like, I don't like, for example, coming out of college wrestling, I was like, okay, should I go MMA or should I go CrossFit? And I was like, well, I don't want to get punched in the face for a living. And likely I'm not going to be that great at it. So if I'm not going to be great at something, I might as well not do something where it's like direct opposition to my health. So I'll say yes.
That was a good defense.
Actually, let's do this. We'll run through, and Chris will do his first one, and then Day, you'll do your first one. And we'll just keep running through in that order. B, C, D, if you will.
Yeah, sure. So our group fitness class is best for everyone, is what I'm going to say. Or best. Our group fitness class is best.
I feel
I
like,
will say,
what are you going to say, Day?
I was going to say no.
Yeah, I would say no too.
All right, looks like I'm yes.
So I'll go first on this one. So, I mean, I own a gym. Chris works at a bunch of gyms. Day has done group classes as well. So again, we all kind of sit in the middle. We all are the individual design coaches, but we all have been a part of group fitness classes as well. But certainly I don't think it's for everyone. Like if someone doesn't move well, they have, just bad positions. They have a lot of joint, issues where they're getting into pain when they try to squat low or put their hands over their head. If you try to throw them into like the average group class environment, they will have some positive impacts, but likely that's not going to be sustainable for them over the long term. And chances are they might get great results for a period of time, but then oftentimes those people end up in pain and they don't want to keep doing it if they're in pain. So I will say no, group classes are not best for everyone.
Yeah, and along those lines, everyone has different goals, different things they want to reach, and the group class is tailored so that they could reach a large audience with a broad set of goals. But if you really are working towards one thing, whether, like Ben said, that's optimizing your movement, working on a specific training goal, if you're looking to compete in a sport or in CrossFit in general, you're going to need to do a lot of specific things tailored to you. I could jump into a group class and it has a programmed workout. I may not be able to do X, Y, Z, and the class is only 60 minutes. I don't have time to do skill work before that Metcon or something to progress. And so instead I have to scale it back and just kind of spin my wheels on that.
All right, I am the defender. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to frame this as compared to other options of fitness. So you have solo fitness, small group fitness, like semi-private training, personal training, and group fitness classes. And so with that, I think if I was to take the subsect of the population and pass them through each one, I think group fitness classes would reach the widest audience in there and thus making it the best. I think group fitness allows for folks to engage with fitness and enjoy working out. And for a lot of people, it's the only option they would ever even try, because doing it by themselves, they are just not someone who's willing to either take the leap or has no knowledge in order to do so. And so when framing it in comparison to other forms of fitness, I think group fitness is the best option.
All right, Day, you're up for the question.
Chris, you should be a lawyer. All right. So my question is, the constant changing of exercises optimal?
I'm going to say no, but I'm also going to take it a step further and say that, like, if you were to say, like, you have to change exercises every week for like eternity, or you can pick like 10 exercises and stick with those forever, I would take the 10 and stick with them forever. And like, this is actually something that I actually think about for a lot for like my youth athletes that I work with, or like people who are newer. It's like, if I'm trying to get somebody really good in like an 8-week period, I'm going to keep the same exercises and teach them how to do those same exercises really well. And they're going to figure out within the first 3 weeks how to do a Russian kettlebell swing. And by the time they get to week 8, they're going to be really good and pretty loaded, pretty heavy in that pattern. And they're going to be able to get a great stimulus out of it. And as long as you pick a number of different patterns that you can go in and keep with those same exercises, you can see really good results. And you can also become an expert in those patterns. I mean, I think an extreme example would be something like running. Like there's like runners who like literally all they do is run, right? It'd be like calling your sport like power clean. Like that's it. So I definitely think, at least in my opinion, even though I do use a lot of different exercises, I would say less switching would be best.
You know what? For funsies, I'm going to say yes. All right. So the reason why I think constantly changing of exercises is optimal is because when going through training, I think it's important to recognize that you train human beings as opposed to robots. And I think the biggest thing for people is to get them to stick to the program instead of designing the perfect program that nobody's going to stick to. And I think for most people, at least in the very beginning, having something that they enjoy, that they're looking forward to doing every single day, is going to allow to longer adherence over a longer time period than consistently doing the same exercises. On Monday is this, on Tuesday is this, on Wednesday is this, where people eventually will fall off over time. So along a long enough time horizon, I'm going to say constant changing is optimal.
All right. And so for me, this is something that, like Ben said, I always go back and forth on. I would say yes, but it depends on the cycles that you're going through. So changing it every week is not optimal, not something I would do, but every 4 weeks, depending on the length of the cycle that someone's going through, that's where I do change movement pattern, change the exercises based on the movement patterns. That's a approach that I like to take. So if we're doing squat variations for the first 4 weeks, let's say it's a strength cycle, we're working on back squats. The next 4 weeks, depending on the mesocycle goal, it could still be back squats. I'm okay with keeping it the same, but I also do like varying it to another squat pattern. So it could be front squats or something like that, or change it up there. So do I think it's optimal? Yes, but with the caveat that it has to be done appropriately and not just all crazy from day to day or week to week.
Dang, I really thought you were going to say no, which is why I went yes. Otherwise, I would have went with no.
You're just trying to make it difficult for the person who's got to follow you up.
Well, I was just like, we're all going to say no, but that was not the case. So,
it was technically kind of no. Like I wouldn't change it all the time, and that's definitely something I don't like doing. But changing it from cycle to cycle, and take a conjugate method approach in a way for that.
All right, I'm up. Do all CrossFit competitors need to be doing easy work?
Okay. I'm going to say yes. I think all CrossFit competitors need to be doing easy work. And the reason why I say that is I'm going to run the spectrum here. If you're a high-level CrossFit athlete, you need to be doing easy work of all types of shapes and sizes. To broaden your aerobic base, teach your body to breathe, to enable you to recover better because you have a much wider aerobic base. Plus, you could probably lump low-dose skill work in as easy work as well. And so you need to be working on things like pirouettes and pullovers and different handstand walk variations and crossovers and crossover double unders, because you're going to
that ain't easy.
Yeah, because you're going to see all sorts of stuff. So you need to be just kind of playing with that stuff. And then for the other side of the spectrum, I think it's important for people who maybe like to compete in CrossFit to also do easy work, because again, from a recovery piece, if you take your head and ram it into a wall every single day, you're probably going to hit burnout at some point. And so I think it's important for all CrossFit competitors to be doing easy work.
Correct. I will go with Chris on that one. So yeah, all CrossFitters, or even people who do CrossFit, it's most CrossFit competitors. Yeah, even people who do CrossFit, general population need to be doing easy work. If they're being really consistent with their training and going 6 times a week. I mean, overtraining is a real thing. Hormonal disturbances is a real thing. And if you're not paying attention to that and you're just redlining every day, going heavy every day, your joints aren't going to like you, your hormones are going to respond, and your body's it's going to take a toll on the body. Central nervous system will get fried. And it happens a lot. So doing the simple, boring stuff is really shouldn't be done all the time. Like that shouldn't be your whole training, but it should be sprinkled in there appropriately.
All right. Do all CrossFit?
You got no, stuck up.
Oh, yeah, I got no. Do all CrossFit competitors need to be doing easy work? No. Yeah. Do all of them need to be doing? No, I guess not. So, obviously, people that are higher level, they're gonna have such high volume, and they do need to have such well-rounded skills and abilities. And at a higher level, like in-person competitions, certainly like semifinals and especially games, you're gonna see a huge variety in terms of like duration, types of events, cyclical only events, like more single modality stuff. So there's just going to be a lot that in order just to accumulate that much training volume, someone has to do easy work. I would say there's going to be a subset of competitors who they realistically only have so much time in their week. And if they're doing like a lot of like easy zone work or like boring maybe it's not even the fact that it's boring, but it's accessory things that don't have a direct correlation with improving their performance, then those are things that realistically you could probably cut out in exchange for more potent doses of something else. So, I think maybe one step further would be like, you could probably do things that are super challenging that are also varied enough where you avoid a good chunk of the burnout and other things that you might experience. And I think realistically, like this is actually a decent look at like what a lot of people do in classes. Like classes, okay, maybe sometimes maybe once a week they get like more of a recovery based day, but like with the exception of that, and a lot of people don't even show up on that day anyway, it's like they're coming in and they're going hard almost every single class. And a lot of people do that for like years and are okay to do that. And again, they have other ways of like figuring out when they should be in and when they should not be, but they can still push the intensity. And I think if you can be smart about how you, again, still like undulate what you're attacking or what patterns you're doing, or you can be intense in strength on one day or more enduring capacities in another, you could kind of manipulate your way around that. It's not the worst thing in the world that you could be doing for yourself.
Well done, Ben.
Thank you. All right, Christopher.
All right. Dun, dun, dun. Is CrossFit dangerous?
I'm going to say no. You know what? I'll spice it up. I'll say yes. Yes, it is dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah. Super controversial now.
Yeah. Controversial here.
She works for the NSCA.
Yeah. Right. I know. So for anyone listening, if they're wondering, at the college setting, collegiate, like strength room and all that, CrossFit is looked at as super dangerous. Most strength coaches don't like CrossFit. They'll make fun of you if they find out that you do CrossFit. And
is that why you work out at 4 a.m?
Yeah, in my garage, like in the king by myself.
In hiding, I do the CrossFit.
The secret. They only see me like squat, bench, and deadlift here. That's like it. But yeah, I'm just gonna say yes on this one, just to kind of be a little controversial here. And I'm just gonna look at the CrossFit model of group classes. That's a perspective I'll take. Because with that, you'll go into a gym setting. Let's say you're a new member, you have limited experience in functional fitness and fitness in general. Let's say your primary workouts consist of walking and light dumbbell work or something like that, and machines at a gym. And then you join CrossFit, you're thrown into this class. a lot of times. The classes are very fast paced. Everything is timed because you're trying to get as much as you can go through the program within usually 60 minutes. And then you look at the conditioning piece, and it is something like snatches, bar facing burpees, and a bike sprint or whatever, let's just say, throwing 3 random things out. So you're doing all these movements under fatigue. Something like a snatch it's very neurologically taxing. It is very not dangerous, but it's a riskier movement, right? Because it requires so much from the person. So a lot of people go into these classes not knowing that they have the option of scaling back drastically. So they don't need to use a barbell. They could switch up the movement to something else that's safer. But because the coach is preoccupied with running and managing the class of X amount of people, they can't just give individualized attention. And sometimes that's missed. And that's where a lot of injuries come up. So the general person doesn't know how to scale, what to scale to, or something like that. Coach is preoccupied. They start doing movement under fatigue without having movement competency. And that's where it could get really dangerous.
Boo.
So is CrossFit dangerous? I will say no. Reason being is because I own an affiliate. No. I am obligated to say that, or they'll take away my affiliation. No, I would totally say that either way. But I could argue the other way. However, no, I don't think CrossFit is. And I think, number one, the challenging thing about this is that CrossFit is so open to interpretation, and that everybody can do exactly what they want in their CrossFit affiliate, and no one can tell them otherwise. And that could be literally quite dangerous in some affiliates. However, I don't think that's the bulk of affiliates, and it's certainly not the case at the ones that we have a hand in. So like, I think maybe a good analogy would be like investing. Like when you're young, you want to be more aggressive in your investing because you have a way larger potential for payout early on, right? Where it's the same, you could probably make a parallel to CrossFit where it's like, or whatever modality of fitness you choose to do. Like, do you want to be doing curves style fitness in your 20s? No. Like, there is almost no risk there. However, there's also almost zero chance for reward either. Like the barrier for entry is so low that there's also like really no component of like, there's no real strength expression. There's no going up against your capacity, right? It's like going in and like doing some like light machines, right? So yes, you can be, a little bit, you can be an affiliate where you can be more methodical about things. But even if you're at one of those that's like super aggressive all the time, like even if for something like does pop up and you get a little tweak or something, like you're going to be young and resilient and you can deal with it. And again, I think as you get longer into your career and you slowly shift your demographic, either your gym's program needs to change to reflect that from a top-down perspective, or you as the individual needs to adjust it a little bit. But I definitely don't think that's like an inherent dangerous thing.
And I am also going to say no.
because you're also high up at all the affiliates.
Yes. I actually help run multiple gyms. So, no, I mean, this question, the reason why we threw it in there, I think, frankly, if they had said no, I was going to say no anyways, just to break the rules. But I think it's because that for me, for a long time, and I don't do it as much anymore, but for a long time I was in sales. And so I'd be talking to people. People would see it on the building and come in and be like, I heard this is dangerous and everyone gets hurt. And my response to that was always, CrossFit's not dangerous. The poor application of it could be. And to me, I feel like that applies to everything and anything, right? Driving a car is not dangerous, but the poor application of driving a car definitely is really dangerous, right? Or walking down the street is not dangerous, but maybe running across the street and not looking both ways can be dangerous. So when it comes to CrossFit, doing it appropriately with, varied movements, but under the supervision of a coach, mixing in and scaling appropriately, it's not, especially people who are like the vast majority of the people who attend our gyms come 3 times per week. right? And so then it's like, okay, you get great rest days in between. There's a lot that goes into it. And so I've also always thought, as long as you're at a gym that has a half decent idea of what they're doing, you're going to be in good shape.
I just want to set the record straight. I don't actually think it's dangerous. I just wanted to.
No, you have to stick with your answer, Day.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry, that's yours.
Defend
your
it.
opinion and yours only.
Defend it to the death. It is out there to the world forever. You can never take
Let
it
it be
back.
known, Day chose job security today. She said her strength and conditioning colleagues can't know.
Oh, man. All right. Last question, right?
Yeah.
Is it? All right, cool. So this question is, should everyday people compete in CrossFit?
No. I don't think I can say anything other than no. That's like my gut, instinct. It's like I want to scream that almost. Like I'm okay with people who like understand that, like, oh, I'm gonna go sign up for this competition and we're gonna do it with a couple buddies. We're gonna do that twice a year or something. And to me though, that's not everyday people necessarily competing in CrossFit. That's like you signed up for a competition, you are an everyday person. I think the longer I've been coaching people, the greater of like a gap I draw between like the everyday person who competes once in a while and someone who's like competitive, where like they want to be as professional as they can with CrossFit. So I think less people should be competing in CrossFit. I think, again, it's okay if like you're the person who's like, I just want to do this for fun, but like someone who's like taking it seriously and they're trying to be their very best, like it demands so much. And the fact is that like there's going to be a subset of people who can have the mechanical tolerance and the hormone profile and everything else, and even like the mental, emotional bandwidth to be able to handle the amount of volume and intensity and to be able to still recover and get better from that. It's a very small group of people that's going to be able to handle that, and the everyday person not only shouldn't be doing that, but they should. It's like a liability to themselves if they were to try to really compete at the highest level that they can.
Oh man, I don't know which way I want to go here. I'm going to say, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to say, yeah, friggin' do this. However, I'm going to take the approach of compete and broaden the concept. And so I think when this question was written, should everyday people compete? I think they were talking about competition. However, I'm going to say that it's okay for people to compete in a regular class setting. And so again, to go back to affiliate to program appropriately for the people involved, I think it's fine for someone to be like, hey, Sue, me and you, we're not super fit. So why don't we but we're kind of the same. So why don't we kind of compete in this workout and see if we can get each other to push harder, right? It's kind of it's something that people don't realize right away when they come into an affiliate, but I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a gym, even our gyms, and be like, Sally got me today. I'm like, Sue and Sally they compete against each other? Like, they're like ultra scaled, right? And so, but they work out. But they work
Put
out
that on
with
a
each
t-shirt,
other.
ultra scaled.
Yeah. But they work out with each other every time they come in. They just, it's very playful and fun, but they're in essence competing with each other. And so because of that, I'll say yes.
Nice. I could go either way with this. I would say yes. Should everyday people compete in CrossFit? And to me, that means they could get ready for a competition and go through the process, but they don't need to be in this long-term competitive CrossFit, programming mentality lifestyle. So I think it's good for the average person who's been going to classes and they see themselves getting healthier overall and performance improvements to compete and kind of test it out, go through the process. And I think most of the everyday people find enjoyment in seeing that and challenging themselves, whether it's just one local competition, right? It doesn't have to be some crazy thing. And you'll see it when you go to local competitions, like all the scale divisions and all that, where there's usually like, middle-aged people, and, you can tell they just got in the sport probably just recently. They're barely holding on, but like at the end of it, they're so happy, and it's like adorable to see. And so I think they should kind of challenge themselves, go through the process, see like the fruits of their labor, and say that they were able to do it, because they'll be proud of themselves. They have their family and friends there supporting them. That being said, like actually competing in CrossFit, like having that lifestyle, the high time commitment, workload, and all that, definitely not for the everyday person. You have to have a good foundation for that. Good genetics, good work ethic, a good foundation, and time experience and all that. So long term, no. If you want to do a local competition, definitely.
Awesome. Well, we'll leave it there.
Great job, everyone.
Yeah, nice job. I think it was a successful first attempt. Well, if you're listening to this and you enjoyed it and you want more, or you have a question that you want us to debate, whether that and give a forced yes or no, let us know. You can DM us at ZOAR Fitness. You can email us, Ben, Chris, or Day at ZOARFitness.com. And until next time, we'll see you. Peace. Thanks for listening today. If you're someone who just started listening to the show, I would encourage you to subscribe so you can stay up to date. If you're someone who's been listening for a while, I would encourage you to rate and review the show. And lastly, the best thing that you can do to support our work is also the best thing that you can do for your performance. And that is by hiring one of our coaches. Until next time, stay the course.